lots of, I think leaders, managers give themselves too much credit. They think I made the decision, but they don't realize that there are other people who were there and they take the credit for it. But most of our decisions we make collectively.
Welcome to the second episode of Decision Makers, a video series featuring decision makers and their challenges. Today, we have a special guest with us, a union activist, a well-known actor, and a technology advocate, Mr. Peter de Almeida. He was the former Chief Executive at Enable and CEO of Kehelmala Productions. Thanks, Mr. Almeida, for accepting our invitation.
It's a pleasure.
When you are looking back at your life, how do you reflect yourself as a human being?
I mean, that's a very broad question. I mean, as a human being, I mean, for different people, I will be different things, right? I mean, when I'm acting my co-actors, as an employer, people see me differently. In my personal relationships, people see me differently. So I don't know, Gayan, whether I would like to describe myself, in any way, because you see your life takes different forms, So particularly as a human being, because sometimes people might see you as not a great human being. So it's, we might think that we are, but it's for others to judge who I am and to describe me as they see me, how they see me as a human being.
What is the biggest decision you have made?
Well, I suppose if you have lived up to 63 years like me, you would have made many big, so-called big decisions, from personal relationships to children, bringing up children, school, and my life as unionist and all of that. So, but I would say if I were to pick one, just for the sake of giving an answer, well, it's like this. I mean, when we started Enable, we had a very difficult time, because you see, when we started the company, 13 or 14 people had come to join us, and in the first year, we had big plans, particularly with a large company. Now that company went bankrupt.
Why is that?
Because of the economic situation. Not bankrupt. They didn't go bankrupt, sorry. They went from 10 billion rupee profit to zero. Next year they went to 10 billion loss. Big company. Because of the global crisis, 2008 financial crisis, and they had also made some bad decisions, I believe. So at that time, now we had just started this. Some of these people had given up very good jobs to join me. Now what do? We can't abandon them. So that's when, more than making a decision, we were adapted ourselves to the situation. So we had to lower our expectations. We had to manage the shareholder. The company was Hema's. Hema's had put money expecting some returns over the first 2-3 years. This was in the very first year. So now these people have left some good jobs and come. So what do? So that's when I think one thing was, I had to manage the shareholders first and show them, look, okay, we are in a bad situation, but we are. Then we had to make decisions. For example, they gave a 5% salary increase. We decided not to take it. And you understand, when you don't take a percentage increase in salary, that has effect for the rest of your life. Where next year you get 10% on that 5, you get it. So that was not a tough decision. Those are rational decisions we had to make to win the support of the shareholder, and changed our business plan drastically. So adaptability in a difficult situation, I think we used that trait very well. Otherwise we wouldn't have survived. So we lowered expectations, tightened our belts, went after new technology, and put in the hard work. I saw 30 customers in 1 month. To tell them how this new technology, which had not written one word about it in our business plan. So you adapt something new, and somehow we stayed the course, and then of course we went on to become a large company. Yes.
So what are the challenges you faced along the line?
So that was one of the challenges and decisions. I'm just combining the two. But you see, the most important is not so much about the decision you make, Gayan. It's about carrying your team, So I think that once you are able to hold your team together and show some leadership, that means you first show that you are standing firm. you are not wobbling and shaking, then you must not think that you are the one who is the savior. No, that's vanity. You say, I am there, but pull your team together, give them the confidence, then collectively you decide. Lots of, I think, leaders, managers give themselves too much credit. They think, I made the decision, but they don't realize that there are other people who are there and they take the credit for it. But most of our decisions we make collectively. And rarely would I have to make a decision where they tell me, Peter, okay, here's the ground rules. When you go for the negotiation, you make the decision. But mostly we believe in collective decision making. That was one of the strengths we had, not just one individual thinking that I am making all the decisions. No, that's never the case.
What are the personality traits you think should be inculcated in a good leader?
I think there may be many traits, but the thing that I think is really, really important is humility. You see, if you're humble, you learn. So you must be humble enough to know a few things. One, you are not alone. This is not about you. You are only as good as your team. So you have to be humble enough to know that first. And you subject yourself sometimes to the discipline of the team. But you are leading the team, particularly at a difficult time. So the second thing is, if you are humble, you learn. You tell yourself, I don't know it all. And I am open to learning from anyone in the organization. So I think humility, makes you a better leader. Because you know that I am human. I am not infallible, I am not God. So I can make mistakes. And the team should see that. They must say, I say, authentic leader, he is humble. And you must be able to go before your members and tell them sometime when you have made a bad choice, you must say, you know what, we messed up. So, but that's okay. So I think humility is a very important trait, because that makes you look authentic in front of your team, your company, organization. Secondly, if you're humble and say, I don't know it all, you will learn a lot.
So describe a time you made an unpopular decision. How do you handle the feedback?
You see, decisions are not made in terms of popularity and unpopularity. I think that's a wrong way of framing it, because you see, you are not making a decision to be popular. No? You are making a decision because it's needed for the best interest of the organization or your family or your team or yourself. It becomes popular or unpopular depending on who is judging you. You understand, Gayan? So decisions are not based on popularity. Decisions are based on what is best for the organization. Now, sometimes, say for example, if we make a decision that particular year that we are unable to pay them a bonus. Now that can be unpopular but if you explain the rationale, then people understand. So you have to be able to carry convincingly your team, So, and the second thing is, you see, once you make, if you have, for example, now a lot of people threw people out of jobs. You see?
Especially these times.
At this time. So I am combining this with unpopular and tough decision. I am combining those two questions together, if you don't mind. So, tough decision, unpopular decision. Now, decisions themselves are not tough decisions. It's the process that's tough. When you make the decision, it's easy. So, you are not making a tough decision, but you have to consider the process of making the decision is tough. Or sometimes it looks tough, but if you are working on certain principles, I'll give you an example. Now, once we were working with a large company again, state-owned. We had won the project. And the CEO of the company, a foreign CEO, had given a letter saying, go ahead and execute the order. You have won the order. We went and ordered the equipment. $750,000 worth of equipment come to the harbour. Then political situation changed. They appointed a new board, government institution. They were expecting some money. So they said, sorry, we are stopping the order. Somebody approached us and said, Peter, your order is going to be stopped. So one might think it's a tough decision, because now the goods have arrived. We might incur a loss. But our guiding principle is no kickbacks. So it's not a tough decision. Because your principles are clear. So somebody might say, profit, we lose profit. Yes, if you look at it like that. But if your principles are clear, it's not a tough decision. The consequences may be difficult. But you are ready to bear the consequences. But the decision is easy, because you will never compromise on that. But now tough decisions sometimes. Now if you saw the film Sophie's Choice, the mother, Jewish mother, they are going to take her to exterminate under the Nazi Germans. She has 2 children. They are saying you can save one of your children. Now that's a tough decision. One can go with you and one is going to be exterminated, put in the train, taken to the gas chambers.
Yeah.
But we are not asked to make decisions like that.
So my final question is, are leaders born or made?
No, I don't know. There's a lot of discussion about that. I don't know whether there's a scientific answer. I read somewhere they say 30% born, 70% made. I mean, the answer is I don't know. But the thing is this, I can tell you this. Now, if you are born into a family, for example, now Nelson Mandela's father was a tribal leader. Then you can say Nelson Mandela is born a leader because he is watching his father leading. And he is also taught by the father, now you are born into this tribal leadership family. So he is cultivated. So he may not be born genetically, analyzed, but you can say he is born in that sense because you are born into a tribal leadership family and you know it continues. But the thing is, one thing I can tell you, your early days of nurturing can make you a leader because, for example, if children are brought up with humility, to be ashamed of themselves, to be not told to ask questions, you don't try to be too smart, don't be a pandita, how are they going to be a leader? So if you are not giving them self-confidence as a child, so parents, most children I feel show leadership qualities. You put children to play, they are not waiting for someone to show the way. They will run, they'll take a risk, they'll jump over the way, so you see, so I think there is an element of risk and leadership and try new things, but we kill that. That's, and the education system kills leadership because it doesn't allow you to ask questions, it doesn't allow you to make mistakes, doesn't allow you to fail exams, doesn't allow you to solve problems. So in that sense I can say our system mostly will repress or suppress leadership potential of people. So very difficult in that kind of education and oppressive family system to emerge as a leader because you don't have the self-confidence to lead yourself, let alone lead others. So that's the sad thing, you know. But if you got those qualities, then you can learn to be a leader. You can learn what does it mean. But of course, you need to inspire people. That's where I believe there must be some quality about you that inspires someone. Because otherwise you can be a manager. But leader means you have to show the way, maga pennannu. Particularly, and when you can show the way, but nobody follows you. You are not a leader. I am showing the way, nobody follows. So they have to follow you freely. So for them to follow you freely, Gayan, you have to inspire, deepen. Inspiring people. I suppose you can learn it, I don't know. I don't know where I learned it, but from the small days I was leading. In school also I lead the games, I'll organize. So I don't know where that came from. But I suppose you can learn to, you know, lead. So it's a tough one. I don't know the scientific answer to your question.
So it was nice talking to Mr. Peter de Almeida. Let's meet with another episode of Decision Makers. Thanks.
Thank you.